There is some pre-work needed to be done before you can run the householding tool in Trailblazer. I have on my screen a list of records for whom you can see obvious householding opportunities. People with the same last name living at the same address, and we have not yet householded these folks. Let's go run the householding tool and see what happens. I do not require them to have the same last name to be considered the same household. I will click search and refresh my list, and you'll see that each of these people has been given their own separate ID, their own separate household name, even though they have the same last name and live at the same address. In this case, Mary has her own household, Roger has his own household. The reason for the tool not householding them is because the differences in the addresses. In some cases we've got street names where the lane is spelled out. In other cases there's a difference in the zip code, as it is here in the case of the Blakes. If I scroll further down, you'll see cases where there's the word boulevard spelled out and the word BLVD up above. Technically the same address, but Trailblazer doesn't consider it as such. So how do we fix that? I have just done a session restore to undo what I just did so that we're back to scratch. We can do our fixing and resume our householding. So the place to fix this is over on addresses. So I'll go over to addresses. I'm going to search for those folks for whom I was just working, with whom I was just working. I'll sort by street, and what you're going to see is some differences in some of the spellings. For instance, drive is spelled out, whereas it's just DR here. In this case, the difference in that address is the zip code. Let's a little further down, we see street and street spelled differently, avenue, and so on. Trailblazer can conform these addresses right here, conforming the addresses, takes a look at the street names and such and fixes those. Hasn't done anything with zip codes yet, but what you'll notice now is that there's, right now I've got 79 records. When I click search, it had actually performed a merge as a result of the street name fixes. However, because the zip code was different, it still did not merge them. It still considers them a different address. So I'm going to go to File and merge those. And in my case, it's a full zip code present in one, but 5-digit code present in the other. Click OK. Came back and it merged 20 records. I'll choose search. And now I have 43 net addresses from my original 79 or so. Let's return to our list and re-household. Let's first of all take a look at what the list looks like now. When I click search, when I refresh this list, you're going to see some of these addresses become more consistent. And they are, which now means they should household better. Let me refresh this. And now where you see the same ID for two people, that is where they got householded together. You also see the name has been updated to include both people, where appropriate. So for the householding tool to work best, you must run a conform and a address merge.